Well, if you don't know, Tracy is here today. She is the Walmart queen. I'm just going to give you that title, whether you want
Okay.
it. You're so, I feel like you're immediately going to be like, no, 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 don't say that. No, there's no place for being humble here. You're the Walmart queen. And you created a course.
Yes,
Tell us about the course. I know we'll talk about it later, but I know you put so much work into this. I'm
I
interested to hear about it.
I did. Um, so, over the years, I've been on Walmart almost 5 years, I think now. And over the years, really trying to encourage other people to get on. I saw the opportunity even early on just to get rid of like dead buys and things like that. Like that's all you used it for. Like I was always encouraging people. And in that process of encouraging people, then I had to help like show them how to use the platform, which is not the most user friendly. And
Right.
so, I'm answering the same questions like over and over and over again and spending time with people. And it just kind of was like, it just makes more sense for me to just kind of catalog all this information into one place. And it kind of stems from my background, which, I started as a teacher. And while I was teaching in the school district, I really became kind of the technology person. I was a math teacher, but like, I was teaching in the mid 90s and we had teachers who'd been teaching 20, 25 years who didn't know how to use Excel or PowerPoint. And so I was doing classes after school teaching them that kind of information. And then I transitioned from public school into the software industry and did training and technical manuals. And I did like anytime like new revisions of the product came out, I had to click every single button to see if anything would break and then create all the updated training materials for that. And I would train the sales reps. And so it kind of is the mesh of both of those worlds of understanding the technology piece of Walmart and that software and the kludginess of it and like the flat files and all the other things that are just a little bit beyond a normal computer
Right.
user,
Right.
and being able to put that into layman's terms for why you need to do something, why they're asking for this, and how we can make it, kind of get around. SDS sheets is my favorite example because like there's so many products if you list WFS that are going to ask you for a safety data sheet. Any kind of makeup, sunscreen, anything touches your body. But there is a caveat that says in lieu of an SDS that you can put an item label in there, but it has to be in a PDF format. So it's like trying to show somebody how to take an image, turn it to a PDF, store it somewhere so that you can put a link. It's just like once you figure it out, it's easy to do. And like that gives you a whole bunch more things you can sell on Walmart.
Yeah.
But the everyday layperson just isn't going to know how to do that. So I just went through basically the entire website, clicking on every button, videotaping while I did it, talking about how it works, how you can do this, how you can do that. And that's basically what it is. It's 10 hours inside my own Walmart account with me clicking buttons and explaining things and giving tips and tricks and things along the way.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of it focused on items because that's kind of the place where all the kind of hiccups come for the most
Yeah.
part. But I do cover everything from in not really setting up an account, although I have something in there, but it's like once you have your account, how to get your account ready, get your items in, how to do WFS or seller fulfilled, how to look
Yeah.
at all the reporting, how to look at all the analytics around it. Um, you know, just so
Yeah.
that people can be more successful. Cause like that's what I want for everybody.
Yeah.
E-commerce changed my life and like I want as many people as possible to experience
I
that.
think it would be great to talk WFS and kind of share about your journey into WFS because I merchant fulfill so much. So I can talk all day about merchant fulfilling, but when people dive into WFS, I'm still so new to it over there that
Yeah.
I'm like, so it'd be great to hear kind of your point of view on it, what works, what doesn't work. Maybe what's the difference between somebody asked the other day, what's the big differences between WFS and FBA?
Yeah.
So I know I'm throwing a lot out at you. So whatever sticks,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
feels
No,
good.
I think it's a great question because like my Amazon journey, I was like you. I did merchant fulfilling. Well, first of all, because there was no FBA when I started. So like I did merchant fulfilling for 15 years. So that was what was in my head. So it took me a long time to kind of transition in Amazon over to FBA and to really understand the benefits of that. So when I got on the Walmart platform, I kind of already knew that I didn't want to do a lot of merchant fulfilling. Like I just, my experience with FBA was so positive. And so we did pretty much, WFS out of the gate. As soon as they used to have to approve you for WFS, so you had to do merchant fulfilling for a little bit, and then they would like basically open up WFS to you, because back in the early days. So we started sending stuff in right away. And let me tell you, if you had to WFS stuff 4 years ago, there were several times my computer almost went across the room. It was so frustrating because the site would time out and you would lose everything and have to start over again. So like gratefully they have fixed all of those kinds of issues. But it's very similar to FBA. So if you're familiar with FBA, you prep your products, you label your products, you box your products, you send your products. WFS, the differences are you don't have to label everything. So you save a lot of time in that labeling process. So as long as the UPC is the same UPC tied to that listing that you're listing on, you do not have to put any kind of labeling on the product, which is amazing. Yeah. So you can throw things in a box, put them in a bubble, in a poly bag if it needs it, put those in a box as long as the label is showing. So that's a time savings. It's a money savings. I mean, there's a lot of things around that. Obviously things that you like if you're doing makeup and you're bubbling makeup, like you'd have to like put a label on that because you can't see the UPC. So that's a lot faster. Also, you don't have to do box contents for Walmart. So that's another speedy demon kind of element. You basically, once you get your shipment set up, you just throw everything into as many boxes as it takes, weigh those, put that information in, and you're off to the races. And then shipping is way cheaper for WFS. Walmart partners with FedEx. We send extra large boxes up to 50 pounds for about $8 a piece. So it's crazy cheap to ship things in. We've also done pallet shipments. We've done LTL. We haven't done an FTL to Walmart yet. We've done LTL into Walmart. And honestly, we kind of debate every time because the small parcel is so cheap. Yeah. Like putting it on a pallet, it's like, okay, well, if it's, 8-10 extra large boxes, like we could send that for like $80, yeah. Small parcel. So sometimes it doesn't really make sense to do the pallets. And I think Walmart, likes that stuff. Also, when Walmart's checking your items in, if there's any items that were damaged in transit, they will notify you and reimburse you for them. And they do all that on their own. You don't even have to ask, and you get it right away. And it's like, and they give you the full sales value of the item, not a lesser amount. So yeah. That probably will change eventually, but for now we're enjoying that. They also have a service level agreement of 10 days that they have from the time that the items arrive in their facility to be checked in and available for sale. If they don't meet that SLA, service level agreement is what that stands for, then you can open a case. They will investigate. If they can't locate your items, they will pay you full sales value of those items. So I actually had a pallet that went missing. And this was in January, and it was a dated seasonal grocery product. So of course I was panicking. And they eventually just said, like, we can't locate it. Here's $6,000. It's just like, okay, that works.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
So they're very generous, I think, in terms of like the problems. Yeah. It's pretty easy to kind of navigate that situation with them. Whereas with Amazon, it's like, you just seem like you fight with them over it. Like, it's just like you're arguing. Yes, I did send it. Here's my invoices. And they're like, well, but did you really, did you really, pay $25 to ship an empty box? I don't think I did, but you're saying I did. So that part, it's been very pleasant to work with. And of course their technical, like their support people are all US based, which is also, it makes it easy to work through issues. Yeah. When you're using WFS, You get a buy box advantage of about 5%. So you can price up about 5% higher than any merchant fulfilled people, and you'll be able to maintain your buy box. I have even seen that extend up closer to 10%. So you get a little bit more money when you're using WFS. And I think things definitely sell faster because I do a lot of test buys. So I'll test buy, merchant fulfill it, test buying to see like how fast was it going to sell before I send in. And then I notice basically that it sells much faster once I ship it in. So that's just kind of my anecdotal, I guess, observations about that. But it's been, you know, they don't have as many fulfillment centers. There are a couple that are a lot slower than others, but for the most part, you know, like most of my stuff goes to Dallas from Oklahoma. I will have it picked up. It arrives in Dallas the next day, and usually a day or two later, things are selling. So it's pretty rapid.
Wow. And you seem like you've really scaled, like from Instagram, like the
Yeah.
pictures really scaled WFS. I think that's another thing is how do you keep Amazon and Walmart both going? Are you leaning more towards one? I'm interested in that just for
Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously the question. Like Amazon's our bread and butter. Like, you know, we do 2 million plus on Amazon every year. And so I think part of why, you know, I always talk about like how I dabbled with Walmart for the first 2 or 3 years. Like I really did just send bad buys, things I couldn't get ungated in, returns that were okay, but I didn't want to send them back to Amazon. Like that's just really, I called it the kind of the redheaded stepchild. Like, you know, it's part of my family, but I kind of ignored it most of the time. So it was not consistent. So then I kind of made a mental, you know, kind of shift and said like, what would happen if I was just consistently shipping small shipments in? And when I started doing that and seeing kind of the snowball effect, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's kind of the key. I need to be consistent. But yet I still have this huge Amazon business going on. And it's like, what do I do? I'm in a little different situation because I have staff. So when we started doing Walmart and being more consistent with Walmart, I kind of took that on and said, okay, this is my baby. I'm going to do it. You know, so I would do everything up until the prep and the shipping. And then we taught our staff how to prep and ship, but I like entered all the items, created the shipments, that kind of thing. Um, it is hard because like when I first started kind of doing that more consistently, what I was doing is I was kind of taking things that I already was buying for Amazon and putting them over on Walmart. This year, going back about 6 months, probably about August, I had a real big shift happen in my head about the Walmart customer and understanding that. And we had sent some things that we were selling on both, and like it would do amazing on Amazon and do nothing on Walmart. And I was just like, I started analyzing that. And so it got me kind of going down this path of like, this kind of comes back from my product background is like when you're developing product, you're like, who are you developing the product for? You know, and you really kind of like if you're developing it for a school teacher or you're developing it for an administrator, or you develop, you know, those kind of needs are different. And so I started kind of analyzing like who is the Walmart customer and looking at what was selling well and what wasn't, and kind of in my head have this picture of who buys stuff on Walmart. And so that kind of framed for me then the kinds of things that I started buying. And what I started finding is I would scan something maybe in the store and see if it was good on Amazon, and it wasn't, but I would scan it on Walmart and I was like, oh, it looks good on Walmart, you know, that kind of thing. So I started really buying more specifically for Walmart at that point. And so like our catalog on Walmart, there's probably only 10 to 15% overlap with our catalog on Amazon. Wow. So it's really almost like its own siloed business that is very similar to Amazon, but like what we're selling is very, very different. It just kind of evolved like over time to kind of figure that out. And once I did, that's when my sales started exploding. The kind of things I was buying were totally different. And yeah, it was just kind of a cool kind of thing to see.
That's such a good point. And I keep saying, like, when people ask me about Walmart, I'm like, I have a theory that Walmart customers are older than Amazon customers, but I really like how you gave some more vocabulary to that, just because that is the thing. You're like, who is my customer here? Because this customer
Yeah.
is calling me on the phone. You know, like I don't talk to people on the phone if it's not a doctor or a teacher.
Yeah.
So in my brain, so I love that you kind of created some thought behind that, not just that they're older, but like what are they buying on Walmart? Because I do think when you look at Walmart and Amazon, you're shopping for different things.
Hmm. Yes.
So that's really interesting. And can you share like is there like a category that's different and stands out more on Walmart than Amazon, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I would say outside of Q4, because Q4 is its own thing.
Yeah.
Um, it really is grocery and supplements and health and beauty that I tend to do the most on. And it's not
Okay.
that I don't do those categories, but like seasonal candy. I mean, come on. We all talk about seasonal candy at Walmart. Like
Yeah.
I feel like that is just it's like a almost an absolute that it's going to sell. And
Yeah.
if it doesn't sell during the season, it's going to sell after the season. I just sold Reese's Christmas trees like this week.
Hmm.
Like are they're still selling. So I leaned really into the seasonal candy. Um leaned into like multi-packs more, not bundles but multi-packs. Those tend to do really well for me. And then just kind of like your everyday like vitamins and things like that, just yeah, just but also I'm selling $300 bottles of perfumes, so like it just don't know, like there's
You
just
don't
like
know.
some weirdness about it. But
Yeah.
but it's like I think about Amazon. We all have, most of us have Amazon Prime. If I need something, I go to Amazon and I buy that one thing, it gets shipped to me. And what I think about Walmart customers is they go with a list and they're
Hmm.
buying like a list of stuff. That's kind of like a
Yeah.
different, like, and they don't know who they're buying from. They're just know like, I need green beans and I need, Fritos and I need this, and I need that, and they're just
Right.
buying it all at the same time. So
Yeah. And with you mentioned health and beauty, because I feel like health and beauty attracts so much negativity on Amazon. Like there's always like the brand or it's inauthentic or it was open or expired, all those things. So I've steered clear of it. But on Walmart, is there any like gating or protocol that you need to know before getting into that category?
there is some gating. You just kind of, it's like anything that's gated, you have to list to see if you can list. There is definitely prestige beauty and prestige fragrances that you can get ungated in. And again, there's that, if you do WFS with it, there's that whole SDS thing, which I do talk a lot about in my course, because that was kind of a big, I kept bumping up against that
Okay.
until I finally just sat down and it's like, okay, I'm going to dig in and figure it out, and I literally spent like a week getting like 100 items out of hold, and seeing what worked and what didn't work.
Okay.
But like when Estee Lauder started gating their brands on Amazon this year, so
Yeah.
they've done Clinique and they've done Bumble and Bumble and they've done Lab Series and Too Faced and all that, and I did a lot of that on Amazon. The first one that gated, I'm like, yep, nope, I'm out of here, and I started throwing them all over to Walmart, and they're selling great.
Hmm.
So those brands, they're selling on Walmart just as well, if not maybe a little more money over on the Walmart platform.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned earlier, I'm just interested in your take because I think we all have interesting responses to this. But you said when I scan in Walmart with this Walmart app, you say, "Oh, this listing is doing well." What does doing well mean to you?
Okay, so when I use the Walmart app to scan, what I'm looking for are there reviews?
Yeah.
It's not an end all be all if there's not, but I do look for that. And then I look and see if there are other third party sellers on it. To me, that's a good indicator it's selling third party.
Hmm.
So, I might come back and analyze the data like in Data Spark, and like I did there's a thing inside of the course where I spend 30 minutes showing like for this one item how I analyze it in like Data
Okay.
Spark to
Okay.
look at number of sellers and that the sellers have changed and that like it actually is moving, because we just don't have a lot of data to work off of. So we have to use the things that we can. So I'm looking for reviews. I'm looking for are there third party sellers? If they are, what are their price? What are they priced at? To kind of in my head figure out like, okay, is it worth selling?
Yeah.
And then honestly, it's not a great answer for everybody else, but it's 25 years of doing this, of just kind of having that gut instinct of it's probably gonna sell, you know.
Yeah. And that's what when people like bigger sellers are so leery of Walmart, and I'm like, selling, like, it's selling
Yeah.
on Amazon. Like, you don't have to create the wheel here. Use that information to post over here. But people are so afraid to kind of explore Walmart at first because they don't have Keepa, the security of
Yep.
Keepa. But I think that's good for us, right? Keep the sharks on Amazon
Right.
for a little bit longer. And yeah. What research tools are you using for Walmart?
So I do have Data Spark, and I do look at it. I won't say that like I trust all of the data there. I think their units sold per month is way off. I
Okay.
have Wally Smarter as well.
Okay.
I think their units sold are probably getting closer, kind of like, warmer, getting
Yeah.
closer. I just started using a Chrome extension called Bizmetrica. I don't know if you know it, but it's kind of like if you're used to like RevSeller or AZ Insight or something
Okay.
on where it pops up. I can show it to you too. It pops up and it basically will calculate profitability of the item that you're on Walmart. So it's like just a little pop up, shows you all the fees and that kind of stuff. So I've been using that just to kind of check my math, so to
Yeah.
speak, for profit. And I started a Walmart leads list a couple of weeks ago. So like, I'm using the combination of those three just to make sure to double check my leads.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, I might reference Keepa, but again, just because it's selling on Amazon doesn't mean it will sell on Walmart. And if it's not doing great on Amazon, doesn't mean it won't do great on Walmart. It's
Yeah.
like, it's like, to me, all of those are just kind of like, uh, what, like, what's I'm trying to think of the term. Like if you're going down a road and like you have like things that keep like bumpers. I'll use bowling analogy. If you put the bumpers up in bowling for little kids so their ball stays in the lane,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I think about those tools, is like they kind of keep you in the lane. They don't necessarily confirm you're going to get a strike, but they'll keep you kind of in the lane. And that's kind of how I look at those tools. I think they do want to get better, but I just feel like this comes back to my software background. The Walmart API does not give them all the data they need to improve. So the Walmart API is lacking in giving them enough data. So it's not really the software fault, it's
Yeah.
really Walmart's fault.
Yeah, we had Flash Pricer here, and they talked a
Yeah.
lot about this because they get the information from Walmart, but then they have to create an internal whatever to
Mhm.
fact check what they're getting and then
Yep.
update it because it's not
Yeah.
right.
I have Flash Pricer too. I think they actually scrape the Walmart site to make sure that the buy box information is correct.
Yeah, it's nice. Okay, so let's answer some questions here
Yeah.
that we have. Jen asked, are you buying wholesale for Walmart?
Some. We're about 50% wholesale as a business. Um, I have a local wholesaler, so like we do buy some wholesale and bring it in, especially some seasonal wholesale. But I also have a local distributor that I buy a lot from. Like 2 weeks ago, we got 12 pallets of pet products in, and I sent 2 pallets to Walmart, and then I sent 10 to Amazon. So that's kind of was the split that happened with that.
And I'm interested, I know this question may not have a direct response like anything with Walmart does, but do you have issues with buyers complaining that you need to fill out a POA? I know IPs can happen over there, but if a customer says this isn't authentic, have you run into any of those issues?
I actually had a product the other day that I got an email that said like, I don't think it was from a customer. I think it was from the brand that said like, this listing isn't accurate. We've had an IP, authorization or something. It was branded incorrectly. Did not make the listing. So it was like a Gillette Venus product, and they put the manufacturer as Venus instead of Procter and Gamble. And
Hmm.
so they said, basically Walmart just sent an email, said like, hey, this happened. We've removed the listing. And I'm just like, I wish Amazon would just do that. Like, like why are we all punished for somebody else screwing up a listing or whatever? And I do try to be very careful looking at listings, but still things happen.
Yeah.
And then I went in and I actually was able to update the listing to the right and send them the information, and they were like, great. And all they do is when you get something like that, they have like this like paragraph that basically says, if we get sued, it's on you, not us, and you have to agree to it. So you have to send back and say like, I agree. Like it's worded much more lawyer like, but
Yeah.
yes.
It's funny how simple everything is with Walmart, like for better or worse. It's just so direct and simple. And it's kind of, it is nice in the world of Amazon where everything is such a freaking headache.
Yeah.
But also sometimes you're like, come on, Walmart, give us more.
Yeah.
So with the new rollout of 15 days off per year, are you blocking off federal holidays only?
That would I'll say it depends because um we will ship on federal holidays if UPS is picking up. So we'll just ship everything UPS that day that we have to. So but I don't I basically don't worry about it. That's a horrible answer. But like I don't even sometimes block off the holidays because what we do is we can print our shipping, and we have a kiosk at our local post office, and we go and we scan everything. So I get a first scan that same day and I put them in the little bin, and yeah, I don't have to worry about the holiday.
It's in the Lord's hands after that.
Yeah, I
Once you
mean,
get in that bin.
but I have a first scan, within the 24 hours, so I'm good. So if you have a kiosk, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never take a vacation, so I don't have to worry about
Tracy.
taking days off.
We'll do a Overworkers Anonymous after this call. You guys can join people who
Yeah,
don't know how to stop working.
live my
Also,
life.
like we have what's that print place that we've used? Staples. Staples has a post office inside. Some grocery stores have a post
Yeah,
office inside, things like that. But obviously they're not going to be open on Christmas.
yeah.
So, oh, so Lisa, I think you're talking about buying shipping labels through Walmart, and those are going to
Oh,
be
yeah,
more expensive.
more expensive. You need to switch over to like Vico.
Yeah. I don't think people realize that because it is nice to like they're pulling your money from your account reserves, but in the long run,
Yeah, and the thing about Vico, if you do use Vico, it's VEEQO. They give you back a little percent of what you spend in shipping as a credit. So you get a little bit of money savings there, but there are certain credit cards that give you like 4% cash back on shipping. So if you use that credit card, then you can actually save on shipping that way too. So that's kind of nice. ShipStation is comparable. I actually used to use ShipStation. The difference is Vico is free. So you're saving $29.99 a month, and you don't have to pay for like blocks of postage, like $50, $100. It's
mhm.
actual postage charged.
That's
So
nice.
you don't have to worry about like refilling or all that kind of stuff. So we use ShipStation probably for a lot of years. Yeah, but I changed to Vico last Q4.
Yeah, it's almost like you need to switch before it gets busy, like before back to school season. You need to
Mhm.
switch over now
Yeah.
in the next month or so and figure out that platform. We need to do that too because we're still
Well,
using
and the
station.
other good thing about Vico, it's owned by Amazon, and it provides the same protections for your Amazon shipment as if you ship it through the Amazon platform. So if you're using Vico to do your merchant fulfilling for Amazon, you're protected exactly the same. So that's why we were like, okay, it's just easier because I used to do all the merchant fulfilling too. And then in March, I trained my full-time employees. We set up an actual merchant fulfilled station with its own scale and printer and everything. And so I taught them Vico, and they can ship for any merchant fulfill for anything, which is nice.
That's nice. I'm sure they have employee settings too, right? Where they can only get in and see certain parts of it.
Probably. I mean, it downloads your orders, so you're only seeing orders.
Does ShipStation have an employee mode? I'm trying to think. I think it does. So
Yeah,
I'm sure it has something where you can change
probably.
settings
I haven't
out.
worried about it.
Which credit
It's
cards?
V. Someone asked about how it's spelled. It's VEEQO.
So let's go back and talk about Walmart and specifically WFS. You guys can continue to ask questions. We just have a couple more minutes here. Well, we have about a half hour. So I'm interested in WFS. I feel like I loved what you said about starting small and consistent, because this is a huge roadblock for me. Is I don't want to put a shipment together if I don't have a ton to do, like hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah.
units. And so then I just find I don't do it because I'm like, well, I never have enough. Like, what is that perfect number? When you're shipping in, I mean, you also talked about doing pallets versus small shipments. Are you testing it out merchant first and then you're moving over to WFS?
I would say probably about 60%. When I buy an item, 60% of the time, it's a test buy that I merchant fulfill. 40% of the time, I might have enough confidence to just send it in, just based upon everything that I see in the data, you know. But most of the time, like, I kind of do this like once a week. Like, I'll go to the big box stores, Costco and Sam's, and see what's new and scan it, and usually buy one or two and do merchant fulfilled to see, like, does it sell? You know, and if it sells it, then I think about, like, okay, how long did that take? Like, if it took a week to sell, I might go buy 10 or 12 and send them in and see how much faster it sells that way. Yeah. So, but the thing is, because we don't have Keepa, we kind of have to build our own, like, catalog of information. So based upon, you know, what you test by and stuff. And the thing is that's going to get a little easier every year. Cause, like, you know, going into, you know, Halloween, I know exactly what sold like crazy last year. So, like, I'm going to go whole hog on those things. And then I'll probably add test buys for any new products or products that I didn't sell last year.
Right. And I think that's the sad thing with new sellers is they drop out so soon. They're like, I'm not making money. Like, I make more money at and they just don't even wait. Like, get 1 year, one selling year under
Yeah.
your belt, and you're so much more informed. So that always frustrates me. So on WFS, when you get there, I know like there's issues on Amazon side if the listing is restricted, regated, you can't sell hazmat, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You talked a little bit about loss, but what are the issues that can happen on the back end of WFS? And is there like an easy workaround, or you just have to recall everything?
For the most part, you're going to know before you send it in that you can sell it. So, like, the item is published as a WFS item, you know, it's green, good to go. Like, you'll know, like, if there's gating or anything before you send it in. With the one exception that when you send something to WFS, if it has terms in the listing, such as antimicrobial, microban, you know, germ fighting, anything like that, when it gets to WFS, they will deem it as unfulfillable, unstorable, and you have to recall it. And it's happened with ice chests, diaper genies, certain running shirts that have like antimicrobial like claims. And it's because those type of claims have to have a pesticide regulation. And in Walmart facilities, they don't have like the same type of dangerous goods storage and stuff like Amazon does. And they don't have the ability to store pesticides.
Okay.
So, like, you know, if you're doing stuff for like lawn and garden, you're probably not going to be able to ship that stuff in. You can ship hazmat in, but it's just like, it's this pesticide kind of grouping of things. And you wouldn't think like an ice chest, like, but because it has it in the listing that it's, you know, that fights bacteria, you know, resists bacteria in the ice chest or whatever, they won't let you ship it in WFS. That's the only problem that I've had. We've had to recall some things for that. The second issue where I had to recall items was when the packaging had a manufacturer code on it and not an expiration date on a grocery product. And so we did not add a label with an expiration date. And it has to have a visible expiration date. So they basically were like, we can't accept these items. We're sending them back to you. I didn't even have to recall them. They're just like, nope, you're getting them back. And so we got them back. We slapped on expiration labels and then sent them back in. So
Wow. That's crazy because I feel like Amazon, I mean, that's obviously part of Amazon's protocol, but they never
yeah,
notice. Like if you
yeah,
don't, it's like they probably won't notice. Just do it next time. So that's interesting that they do notice those things.
yeah. They actually have, when they're checking stuff in, there are people, it's kind of, if you think like a conveyor belt at a grocery store, they're checking your stuff in, they actually photograph it. So if there's any issues with that, you get photographs from them that says like when that happened, they actually took photographs and said like there's no expiration on these. So it's like, oh,
Wow.
okay. Or if they get an item that's damaged, they send you pictures of the item that's damaged. And then you can set up your settings whether you want those things back or you want them to destroy them or whatever, but you still get paid for them, which is nice.
Okay. Wow. And what's this with a hazmat? Because I've talked a little about hazmat.
Uh-huh.
You can sell hazmat FB or WFS, okay?
Yeah. One of the first things that I went deep in was sunscreen, like sprayable sunscreen. And that was all hazmat. And it was like I sent like 4 pallets of hazmat to them. It was fine.
Interesting.
You just have to, I think I was gonna say I had to use my own carrier, but that was before they added all their carrier stuff in here. So I'm not sure on LTL if you would have to do it outside. Because I know like with Amazon, anything hazmat you have to ship outside of their
Yeah.
partnered. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'd have to check on that. But we send hazmat all the time via small parcel. And it gets mixed in with everything else. It's wild.
What weird. So hazmat is okay, pesticides not okay.
Correct. Yeah. So
Okay.
just don't sell a bunch of like bug killer and stuff like that, WFS.
Yeah. Okay, so let's finish up by, well, if you have any other questions, guys, feel free to shout it out. Tell me about the course. We'll post the links in the community after this if you want to sign up. What do people need to know? Is it on demand? They download it and have access? What does it all include?
Yeah, so it's totally on demand. It's broken into units. And then underneath each unit are multiple lessons and like they're all videos. So it's video, me inside the platform for the most part. I think there's a couple that have like just a few PowerPoint slides, but most of the time it's just me live in the product, like talking through it. And so, I go through a whole tour of the seller center. What are all the buttons? What do they mean? The product catalog, like everything about entering items in, whether it's seller fulfilled, Walmart fulfilled. I show you every method possible to get your items entered because, you can enter them one way. There's like multiple ways through Excel that you can do that and have multiple items entered. Repricing, how to use the Walmart repricer, how that works because that's free and part of it, and then managing your orders if you're doing seller fulfilled, how to fight any kind of claims that might come in, although we all know most of the time like you don't win those, so that's just something about Walmart. But yeah, it is there. And then looking at your sales data, at your metrics, and making sure you're keeping your metrics up. That's the one thing about like seller fulfilled, because the things that can kill your account and get you deactivated all really surround around seller fulfilling. So
Yeah.
that's why going into WFS, like it kind of is a little bit of a buffer because you're not doing as much seller fulfilled. But
Yeah.
when you don't do as much seller fulfilled, one mistake means a lot more. So like if I'm only doing 20 units a day versus 100, that one mistake impacts me a lot more. And
Yeah.
when something like that happens, we'll just list a bunch of stuff seller fulfilled to just kind of water it down.
Yeah.
So we go through all the analytics, we go through the reports, we go through WFS and shipping WFS, or how to report the Amazon ASIN as a match so that you can get your items published. I go through a bunch of third-party software, just very briefly, like what I like about it, how I think it helps. Advertising on Walmart, using the Walmart app, making decisions about whether to list something on Walmart. And that's about it. And it's about 10 hours of videos, but broken into, you know, 6, 8, 10 minutes. I think there is one that's pretty lengthy, and that's the one about how I decide if I list something on Walmart or not.
Mm. Yeah, awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. If you see Tracy at an event, you should go talk to her.
Yep.
You'll feel like friends, not like, oh, I don't belong because I don't have a nice car sort of situation.
Nope. I drive an old beat up Suburban with hail damage. Like, it's all good.
And she's Midwest, right?
That's right. Oklahoma.
Midwest nice. We love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk soon. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll have all this information for you in the next couple minutes in the community. I'll see you guys tomorrow if you're coming to the Amazon crash course. We have a lot happening this weekend. Otherwise, we'll talk Monday morning, 11 a.m. And yeah, thanks. Have a good one, guys. Bye.